Namaskar, welcome to Ek Samvaad at Arunima Ankuran. On the occasion of Basant Panchami, we're in conversation with Dr. Madhuwanti Latkar about her pursuit of knowledge and contribution as an educator. Dr. Madhuwanti is a professor, Department of Civil Engineering, VNIT Nagpur. Warm welcome to you. Thank you for coming to Ek Samvaad.
Thank you very much, madam.
A word about Arunima Ankuran. This is an initiative for positive social change through self-development. The goal is greater well-being and happiness for all. At Arunima Ankuran, we believe that each person is unique and special in some way, that each person can make a difference, that each person can have an impact, and that's what inspires us to keep going. Today is Basant Panchami. We are really lucky to have a blessed daughter of Maa Saraswati with us today. Basant Panchami is dedicated to Goddess Saraswati, who is the goddess of knowledge, education, language, sciences, music, arts, crafts, and skills. She symbolizes the creative energy and power in all its forms. Let me introduce our guest. Dr. Madhuwanti is a professor with 29 plus years of teaching and research experience in prestigious institutes like VNIT and NEERI, numerous publications to her credit. Her area of research is environmental biotechnology. 7 patents have been granted and 2 patents have been filed by her, which is absolutely amazing. She has represented VNIT and worked as a coordinator for the thematic area Ecology and Climate Change in the BRICS NU. She represented India as a delegate and a member of the International Thematic Group Ecology and Climate Change in China. Dr. Madhuwanti headed the research team from the Department of Civil Engineering VNIT Nagpur, which won the prestigious RISE Award 2021 for the best poster titled Biocementation Studies on Cement-mortar by using soil as a nutrient source for the bacteria in the category field and laboratory research. So that's another amazing achievement. So warm welcome to you and thank you for joining us. Let me start with the first question that came to my mind when we spoke earlier also. What was the role of your family and your environment in making you the person you are today?
Well, good afternoon to you, Dr.Pragya, and good afternoon to all the audience. And first of all, let me thank you, Dr.Pragya, for giving me this opportunity to talk about science, especially because science is my passion. I am very fortunate to be from a highly educated family background. My grandfather was DSc, postdoctoral postdoctorate in physics. He was a first DSc postdoctoral degree holder from Nagpur University. He was head of Department of Physics in Institute of Science for many years. Late Dr. V.N. Thatte, and he had done a lot of voluminous work towards science and especially Marathi Vignan Parishad. And today also, Dr. Thatte, in his name there is the Dr. Thatte Foundation, and in his name one foundation is there, and those people, they every year they arrange a series of lectures about in the topic of various areas of physics in Nagpur and also in some other places. My parents, my father was a doctor, my mother is a doctor. And I am from an good academic background, and right from my childhood I have always seen my grandfather, who was a very great physicist. He always, working in his, he had a very big study room, and working and reading in his study, and then also doing small experiments. And whenever there used to be some, solar eclipse, and he used to prepare different lenses, and he used to show us the sun from different angles and from those lenses. And also those type of, you can say, sanskars are from my childhood. They are, I am brought up in such environment. So that way I am fortunate to have such a good academic background, and that cultivated the passion of science in me from my childhood.
So did you always want to be a professor?
I wanted to be a teacher, not a professor, of course.
Hmm.
I mean, eventually it happens, but teaching was my profession. I have seen my grandfather, I have seen his, not, I can't say that I have seen his journey because I'm his granddaughter, but I know what a great teacher he is. And of course, I am not of his level, but teaching was my passion from the beginning. Yeah.
So, you have been doing such tremendous amount of research and working with so many students on their uh, PhDs and everything. So, what do you think it takes to be a good teacher?
See, to be a good teacher, now I don't know whether I should talk about that, because whether I am a good teacher or not, that will be evaluated by my students only.
Hmm.
But I strive to be a good teacher. The very first thing a teacher should never forget that at the first place, a teacher is a student. You are always a student, so you are learning and you keep on learning. As we get a fresh batch of students every year, and we keep on learning from them as well, and we need to update our knowledge. Like, I just can't prepare my notes and keep them in my cupboard or on my table, and every time pick up one topic note and just read them, or and then go and take the lecture. No, I never do that.
Hmm.
We need
Hmm.
to update our knowledge, especially in science. And certain subjects are like that the knowledge has to be updated day by day, because I teach one subject, that is introduction to climate change. Now, climate change is such a, this is a very upcoming, and not upcoming actually, it is a daily, day-to-day basis. We need to be in touch with the whatever is going on in the field of science researchers also, as well as what is happening exactly in the global climate, and how are different efforts from different countries, they are contributing towards minimizing this climate change, various effects of climate change, etc. So I need to update my knowledge. So similarly, for every subject, I think that a teacher should never forget that he or she is a student first. And secondly, to be a good teacher, we need to connect with the students emotionally, that the student should understand that the teacher really wants him or her to learn. And we should inculcate values in the students, that you should not be just mere an examiner. Don't study from the point of view of examination. Yes, you need to study, because you just can't be so you can say ideal, that no, that cannot happen, that just study and you may get any means you just don't study from point of view of examination. I don't say that, but there should be a balance. Like, you should be for knowledge also, for improving your own capacities to handle different things, especially in science I'm talking about, that handle different things in your day to day life, when,
Hmm.
because there are so many things which we tackle with the help of our knowledge about science.
Hmm.
So just don't be an examinee, but you should be able, you should also have inner, a motive and inner wish and will to learn. So gaining knowledge, learning, as well as preparing for the examination, all should be balanced together.
Wonderful.
So I think that this is very important. And the last point I will say, that at least I do this, that see, I mean, even if I am a teacher, I'm teaching from last 29 years, but
Hmm.
I am not God, or I am not a perfect person. So many times, not many times, but sometimes it happens that if a student asks certain doubt, or for some doubt I don't have the answer, I openly say, I admit that I don't have the answer right now, I'll get back to you. And I definitely make it a point to read about that. And if I cannot find out the answer, then I discuss with other faculty members or other people in this area, in my domain, and then I come out with the answer, and then I discuss those answers with that student. So that also, a teacher should be, ego should never be there. A teacher is in my opinion, a teacher is a professional parent. When the students are parents at their home, in our institute or in our college, we should be their parents and we should act accordingly. That is what I feel.
Oh, I think that's beautiful. Professional parent is something, lovely. That's really nice. So, you just spoke about climate change. What would you like to, if you had to share with the layperson your knowledge about this? What are few things that you would like to share?
I would just say a few very, small things, very minor or trivial things which we feel, which we don't, pay attention to. Like, for example, if we are, like nowadays, in cities like Nagpur or in even metropolitan cities and even tier two cities like Nagpur, it's a fashion that everyone wants air conditioners. So there was a stage when in my childhood we used to have just coolers, air coolers,
Yes.
and they were sufficient still also in very
Hmm.
high summer in Nagpur. Basically, air coolers are very good, but people want ACs, and yes, I agree that yes, for comfort we want ACs, but everywhere in your houses, in the right from the drawing room up to the bedroom, and even I've seen certain families having ACs in kitchens also. So we should try to avoid this much, mechanization in our life if we can, because it has environmental impacts. So it contributes to climate change if we are using ACs and at such a high level. Then secondly, if we are using too much of electricity, then
Hmm.
again the same thing that finally the fossil fuel burning is the
Hmm.
main reason of the emission of greenhouse gases, one of the main anthropogenic reasons. So if we want to minimize that, then we should look into every aspect, like minimize the use of electricity, minimize the use of all these gadgets and all these comfort level things which we always strive for. And then pay attention to very few small things in your life, like if you can plant even just per
Hmm.
month, if one person can plant just 5 saplings, 5 small plants, that is also sufficient.
Hmm.
So all these small things, they matter, and otherwise climate change is that way a very deep and extremely complicated area domain, in which one has to really give a very thoughtful attention, and means it's not very easy to say few things to lay persons that do this, do that, but these are the few things that we can, if we can divert ourselves to using inexhaustible energy sources like solar energy or wind energy or geothermal energy, or those types of them, that would be much better, or even the water energy like the tidal energy and all those things.
Thank you for sharing. So, you have 7 patents, which is absolutely amazing, and 2 are pending. Would you like to talk to us a little about that? How it started, and yes.
See, how it started, which is really a difficult question for me, because way back in, I think we started research in biocementation in 2015, and my actually much of credit of this idea of biocementation goes to Dr. Tapan Chakravarti, who was he is late Dr. Tapan Chakravarti. Coincidentally, today is, I mean, 2 years back, he passed away in 2022 on 14th February only, on this day only. So he was former director of NEERI, and he was my guide supervisor when I did my PhD from NEERI, National Environmental Engineering Research Institutes, some way back in 1997 to, sorry, 1987 to 1992. In that period, I did my PhD under his guidance. I had my CSR fellowship. In those times, CSR UGC used to conduct a joint examination for scholarships for
Hmm.
research. So I had passed that, and I had my CSR fellowship, and I got placement in NEERI, and under his guidance, I did my PhD. And then in 2015, actually, he gave me an idea that now, since I would like to share this also, that though I am working as a professor now in civil engineering department. In 1994, I joined this department, civil engineering department. That time VRC, now VNIT, as a lecturer. Now
Hmm.
I am a professor, but I am not a civil engineer. So I
Hmm.
am basically a clinical biochemist, and then I did my PhD in environmental biotechnology. So that domain was environmental biotechnology.
Hmm.
And then in civil engineering, there are specializations for MTech, different specializations. One specialization is environmental engineering. That is for MTech, environmental engineering is one of the specializations, and for that the environmental engineers, I mean the students, they should be taught two subjects, environmental chemistry and environmental microbiology. So biochemist is a proper person because a biochemist knows microbiology as well as chemistry. So that post needed biochemist, and I being an environmental biotechnology PhD, and so I got into this institute as a lecturer. So now what happens is that since I am in civil engineering department, but I am not a civil engineer, but a thought was always there in my mind that I should do something for civil engineering. This civil engineering discipline or civil engineering branch, though I am not an engineer, but I am now working here.
Right, right.
So that idea came from Dr. Tapan Chakravarti that we can use, biocementation is basically use of biotechnology, use of biological tools like bacteria, I mean enzymes from bacteria or from even plant seeds and leaves, etc., and use of such enzymes to enhance the mechanical strength of cementitious materials like concrete mortar. That is one thing, so that the structures become more durable, and the difficulties like, or rather the problems like cracks or leakages, they are reduced. I can't say that you can totally get rid of them, but their percentage becomes less. Secondly, we can also do crack healing of in the structures. There are many times cracks appear to do many reasons. So even crack healing can be done by this biocementation technique. So this idea was given to me by Dr. Tapan Chakravarti, and then I started working in that direction since 2015. I'm working in this, and initially Dr. Tapan Chakravarti was also with us as a mentor. Now he is no more, but of course his blessings are there always with us. So then we started basically working with bacteria and the ureolytic bacteria, and we started working with ureolytic bacteria which have the enzyme urease. And then it's a long process. I won't go into those details. That may not be very interesting, of course, for everyone. But then we got very good results using bacteria in the for in the increasing, I mean, the augmentation of mechanical strength of concrete as well as mortar. And then we started working with even plant seeds like watermelon seeds and pumpkin seeds and soya beans, which have the enzyme urease. And researchers have worked in using the seeds also, but what they have done is that they have used the extracted enzymes, like using very complicated extraction procedures. So then that the process becomes extremely expensive. So to make the process techno-economically feasible, we found out a very easy method that just use pulverized seeds, and then whatever procedures we use. But we have succeeded in making the process techno economically feasible. Similarly, bacteria also, people have used pure cultures of bacteria, but again the same thing, that it becomes very impracticable as well as not economical, expensive process it becomes. So what we did is that we used mixed microbial culture from soil itself, rhizospheric soil, that is the soil which is near to the plant roots. So we got very great success in that, and depending on that, then I find I mean, it's not me and my research fellows, of course. Research is never a single person cannot do that. It's of course it's combined efforts. So we file patents, and by God's grace, patents got granted.
Uh, so, what kind of training do you think is required to do the kind of research? If someone is interested in the topic that you're talking about, or in research for that matter, what would you say is required?
See, I would like to talk about, skill set for a researcher, little
Yes.
bit. I'm
Yeah.
not a very great researcher, but whatever experience I have gathered in my professional life. The first, see, what is a research? Research is basically we perform certain experiments, and we try to gather certain, measurable or empirical evidences related to certain hypotheses, and either to support or contradict the theory, right? Science doesn't believe in hypothesis. Science needs proofs, and science needs everything to be proved, and then a theory comes up. So, because I'm talking about experimentation, because my area is experimentation, means I need to do experiments. There are certain theoretical research also, but basically we need to have certain measurable empirical evidences to, which are related to, of course, a hypothesis, to either to support or to contradict the theory. Now, for any researcher, the a very important thing which is necessary is that there should be a proper balance between hard work and smart work. Just
Okay.
blindly doing hard work doesn't give you any results, and it finally makes you a really like donkey work. There is no point in doing that. So it finally makes you a very unsuccessful researcher. So you should properly balance hard work and smart work.
Okay.
Then second important thing is that when you are doing a research, there are many moments when you get extremely depressed, you
Hmm.
don't get proper results. So there are three P's for a researcher.
Hmm.
Three P's which are very important. I always say that they are perseverance, patience, and perfection. So with extreme level of patience that is necessary, and of course high perseverance, you a researcher should strive to achieve perfection. This is important. Then now see, the researcher has to keep the enthusiasm always alive. We
Hmm.
should never feel, you day to day you are facing different challenges. Doing a research or being in science and doing certain, trying to find out solutions to certain problems, it is not at all easy.
Hmm.
So you need to keep your enthusiasm, and you should be prepared for negative results also. Now, in fact, in my opinion, no results are negative in research, because if you get negative results of, of certain experiments, say for even a length of period of say 6 months or so,
Hmm.
you should present them, because you are making the pathway, or you can say the roadmap for other researchers easy,
Yes.
because you are ruling out something, isn't it? So their efforts towards that direction are minimized. So no results are negative. Results are either positive or negative, both are useful. So you should be prepared for negative results, or rather, you should think that no results are negative. These are my results. I'm going to document them. And from documentation, now again, I remember that point also, that in research, only good experimental skills, or having good capability to or skill to do the experiments and get the results is not sufficient.
Hmm.
Because whenever we do research, especially in science, we are doing it for the society, for the betterment of society, isn't it?
Hmm.
For
Yes.
betterment of human beings. So
Hmm.
you should be able to document it properly. You should be able to present it properly in front of other people. So a researcher should have good writing skills,
Hmm.
and the researcher should be able to document his or her research properly, and able to good presentation skills. You should be able to present your research properly in front of people. Then only that research will get recognition, and recognition for a research is extremely necessary. So this is also one point that every researcher, every research student, or even a scientist doing research should keep this in mind, that all these aspects are necessary. And then, of course, I talked about perseverance, I talked about patience, and I talked about one more important thing is that one should be always humble and open to criticism. And
Yes.
for a researcher, being humble and being open to criticism is also extremely necessary. Because this is my own experience, that whenever I get criticism from anybody, sometimes it is extremely constructive criticism. I
Hmm.
always, one should always give a thought to that criticism, and then think that can I make certain changes in my methodology? Can I make improve my methodology, or my way of writing, or my way of presentation, whatever? So the criticism should be always taken in a positive way, and constructive criticism one should consider every time. So that is also necessary, and your social network is also necessary, because again, what I said, that whenever you do research, you are doing it for betterment of human beings, for betterment of society. So you should have a good social network, and you should be able to present your research. You should be able to justify your research properly. That is necessary, and you should be able to work in groups. Working with
Yes.
with your colleagues, and helping them, and even at times taking help from them. Your ego should not be a thing which will stop you from your progress. So you should be open for helping others. You should be open for taking help always, because research is all generally a teamwork. So these things should be kept in mind. That is what I feel.
Uh,
One more thing I would like to talk about, research on next level is interdisciplinary research. Now, what is an interdisciplinary research? It is research in which inputs from more than two disciplines, or more than one discipline, are taken. So that means, for example, the research which I am doing presently in
mhm.
biocementation, or means it is called even microbially induced calcium carbonate precipitation, MICCP or biocementation. It is an interdisciplinary research. For example, as I told you that I am a biochemist turned out to be an environmental biotechnologist. My research scholars are all civil engineers. So my research scholars are either environmental engineers or construction. My present research scholars are MTech in construction technology and management.
Hmm.
So their inputs are also very important for me. It is an interdisciplinary research. So now why interdisciplinary research is necessary? See, many times finding out a solution for some problem is out of scope of a single discipline. So in such cases, you need to take inputs from more than two disciplines, and then it becomes necessary that you should involve many people from other disciplines as well. So to have a more well-developed perspective, interdisciplinary research is very necessary. And then another advantage of interdisciplinary research is that you get a wider audience. So
Hmm.
as I told you that presenting your research in front of people and then getting it recognized is also necessary.
Yes.
So all these things are important from my point of view.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing and coming from your rich experience. I'm sure this is going to benefit a lot of researchers. Um, Before we come to the end of this Ek Samvaad with you, your name itself, like we spoke the other day, you're also a musician, you sing. What are some of the things Professor Madhuwanti does when she's not working?
Well, I have learned Bharatnatyam in my childhood, and I have learned Bharatnatyam for around 9 years or something. But of course, nowadays I have stopped that, not possible. But yes, I have learned singing. I know classical music, and in my spare time, I listen to music. I sing for myself, not in front of audience. Reading is also my hobby, and that's all.
So, is there a message that you have for the people who are listening in?
So, being an environmental biotechnologist, or I can say that being a faculty in environmental engineering, or having done some contributions towards environment, because my research in biocementation is also, using natural agents to improve the strength of structures. And I mean, if you even if you use less cement, we are also doing research in that area, that replacement of cement by certain other pozzolanic materials and then increasing the strength. So we are also trying to reduce the carbon footprints, because cement production, again evolves greenhouse gases. So all those things. So my sincere message to everybody is always that we should always remember that we are for Mother Nature. Mother Nature is not for us. God has created Mother Nature. God has created human beings. God has created all the organisms. But what we feel nowadays that the entire, this, I always say Mother Nature is for us. No, we are created. God has created human beings, given intelligence, high intelligence to human beings, and, complicated brains to human beings to take care of Mother Nature. So we should keep that in mind. We should not use, and we should not use the, natural resources indiscriminately. And if we remember that, I am sure that for in each and every calamity which human beings face, Mother Nature is always there to rescue us.
Hmm.
But the first and foremost important thing is that we should take care of Mother Nature.
Yes.
So that is very important.
So, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. It was really interesting listening to you talk about your work. We wish you all the very best. And thank you very much from Arunima Ankuran for being on Ek Samvad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pragya. It was really a very enjoyable experience. I hope that I have given you I've given proper justice to this entire activity. Again, thank you very much, and all the best to you.
Thank
Thank you.
you so much. Thank you.